Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Force for Growth podcast. I'm Ricardo.
I'm Courtney. Hello. Thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to be discussing Tony Robbins' latest article in Success Magazine in the April 2021 edition. And yeah, there's a lot of cool financial tips coming up. So let's get started.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. So this one was an interesting one.
It was. Before we go into Tony's financial tips here, tell us some financial statistics, Courtney.
Oh, it is, the average family's $500 a month difference away from making it or breaking it. Let's see. If you want to retire in your mid 70s and if you live to be 95, you're going to need about $161,000 just to feed yourself for those 20 years.
Mm.
There's just a lot. You gave me a cool one too, that the average American doesn't have, I mean, majority of us don't even have $2,000 available, whether that's pulling credit cards, different accounts. And so it's showing me that Americans aren't very resourceful with money, to say it nicely. Um, yeah.
And Tony's here to help us with that.
Yes, he is, as
And this
always.
and the May June Success magazine.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's dive in, Courtney. First
Okay.
takeaway.
What's your first? I'm going to let you start.
All right. So I'm gonna go. Tony likes to talk about compound interest. So he's a big fan of the compound interest. So real quick, he says that if you want to have $1 million by the age of 65 at a 7% growth, if you start at the age of 20, it's only $272 a month. At the age of 50, it's $3,099 a month.
Ouch.
Mm,
Ugh, that gets harder.
yeah. Don't wait till the age of 50.
Yeah. No. No, wait. Let's see. I wrote down one. I loved when you talked about financial freedom. It's not truly about the money. And I think a lot of us know this in our core. It's not about the actual money. It's not about the material home you're going to get or the cool car you might be able to afford now. So, but it's the just freedom of being able to do what you want without those constraints on you. But he said, so financial freedom, it's not about the money, it's a state of mind. And I
Mm,
love that. And it's dynamite because if you can access that state of mind now, we talk about it all the time. It's called gratitude. If you can get grateful for what you have now and carry that along with you in the journey, you'll find you'll reach financial freedom a lot quicker
yes.
because it's not about the money. So if you can find peace within yourself, hello. Is that what we're
Yes.
all after?
He touches a little bit on the GameStop phenomenon.
Yes,
Ooh, that was a big story. That was a
that
big one.
was.
So for those of you who don't know, there's actually a thing on Hulu that talks all about GameStop where they break it down on what actually happened and why it happened.
What
But
is short selling? Like, yeah.
I so basically this big corporate guy, I'm gonna put it in these sense, this hedge fund manager, right? He was betting that GameStop was gonna go broke. So all these little geeks online decided, what? Right? So
Hmm.
he was gonna make a lot of money if GameStop went out of business, filed bankruptcy, if their stock dropped,
Yeah,
right? So
that's how it happened.
with all these stimulus checks coming in, all these unemployment checks coming in, these gamers, these guys, these young guys and gals here on this Reddit board were like, let's save GameStop. So they all started buying. And
Yeah.
they all started buying, which drove the price up. And
Hmm.
it sent this guy's hedge fund out of business, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
He ended up losing a ton of money.
Billions and billions. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what Tony says about that is that the people who were in early, obviously the people who were planning it out, that they did pretty good, that they made some money. But then us who were not in the loop, that were looking at it and they were like, wow, what's going on with GameStop without really looking into it?
Hmm.
Most likely the people who were bystanders and jumped in later in the game, they didn't do so well.
Yeah. And that's my takeaway on the GameStop situation. One, I think it's really ironic that the company this happened with is called GameStop. Like, the metaphor of the game, right? Learn the game. But there are pros and cons to doing what other people are doing. And
Yes.
GameStop, that was a perfect example where at first there were a lot of people I have a friend who made $600. Just, I forget how much she invested. But anyway, it really was happening all around if you were paying attention to the story. However, there were a lot of people who waited and waited, or just learned about it a little late and jumped on it, but they lost money in the end. So there was this wave that lost money towards the end of all of that, right before it kind of concluded. And I just want you to take that back to your own life, and where is it beneficial to do what other people are doing? Because we can't stand here and say you should never do what your neighbor's doing. That, no,
No.
we're humans. We need to learn from each other, learn from each other's mistakes, learn from each other's successes. So there are times where you do need to, I mean, you don't have to, but you'll take the feedback, learn the feedback, and open that up to other people's lives. But
Yes.
oh, there's this other side of where you just flock to it because it's working for other people, and then you're down on your luck. Like, I bet you there's somebody who lost a lot of money with GameStop because they came in it a lot later, thought they could make money because all these sure bets, right? Everyone else is making money on Reddit, and then they didn't. And I bet you they're still sitting there depressed that they spent their whole savings or their whole stimulus. And so it's just take inventory of that and understand where you do that in your own life. Sometimes it really pays off to go against the grain. Sometimes it pays to run with the pack, but you got to know the difference in the moment.
Yes.
That's a
He,
discernment part.
he says right here, trust your brain, not your gut.
Yep.
When he talks about GameStop, trust your brain, not your gut.
Hmm.
Right? Because that gut will be like, "Ooh, it's popping, it's popping. Let's
Yeah.
go, let's go." And then he talks a little bit more about Dogecoin, and that Dogecoin was pretty much the same thing, that people were buying it to pump it up.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
same thing. People got in late on that. They might have lost a little bit or not done as well. And the people who got in early on it, that
Hmm.
were in the know, that were in the right circles, they did okay.
Yeah.
So trust
Yeah.
your brain, not your gut.
Yeah. And that's another one I wrote down was he points out that avoid impulsive financial decisions because there are typically only two reasons why they're going to happen. That's fear and greed.
Yes.
And if you just don't need to make decisions based off your emotions when it comes to money, don't
No,
do it.
don't do it.
Mm-mm.
Don't do it. So here we go. We're diving deeper into the Success Magazine May June article of Tony Robbins on the cover of Success Magazine on fear, greed, GameStop, and the quest for financial freedom. So,
Yes.
right along with that, Courtney, you mentioned impulsive decisions. He says these 5 strategies can help you stay on track towards your long term financial goals.
Mm-hmm.
Home in on what matters. That's number one. Home in on what matters. Be strategic about the financial news you consume. Ooh,
We can
that's a big one.
highlight and bold that one. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Got it.
that bold one.
Yeah.
Learn to be comfortable with risk. If you're not comfortable with risk, maybe the stock market is not for you. Maybe you should just invest in like a nice little safe bond or something,
Hmm. And that's
right?
okay.
It is
That's
okay.
okay. By the
That's
way, if you don't fit into this box, you're still doing that doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. Okay. You don't have to be like everyone else.
He says, simply put, risk is the secret to success. If you want to succeed at any level in business and finance, in your contribution to the world, you have to learn how to deal with the 4-lettered word risk.
Hmm. Yeah.
Mm,
This reminds me of that Coldplay song. What is it? Something like this, where it's like, okay, where do you want to go? How much do you want to risk? Like they
yes.
go hand in hand. So,
Number 3, he says, focus on what you already have. When Robbins asked crowds at his events whether they focus more on what they currently have or what's missing, 80% say the latter. And that's not surprising.
yeah.
We tend to focus on what we don't have. We need to focus on what we do have and just add to it.
Hmm. The same with our skills. Like instead of focusing on what skills you don't have yet, polish the ones you do have. I mean, it just really like take this as a metaphor, you guys. It's not just
Yes,
about
it's a
money,
big
but
one. And then, like you said, don't make impulsive decisions. And number 5, the last one, know your limits.
hmm,
Know your limits.
that's a big
Now,
one.
now, see, here's what's interesting. Number 2 is learn to be comfortable with risk. Number 5 is know your limits.
Hmm.
Don't bet what you don't have.
Yeah.
Don't put in the stock market what you can't afford to lose. Right?
Hmm.
The world's most skilled investors don't make it big due to one or two lucky investments. They spend their lives learning on how to be the best at what they do.
Yep. There are no overnight sensations.
No, there's not. The harder, let's see here. Robbins references a conversation he once had with billionaire hedge fund manager Red Dalio. This is harder than the Olympics, Dalio told him. With the Olympics, you train for 4 years to compete with the best in the world. This is a 24-hour a day. This is 24 hours. This is 24-hour days playing against the best on earth, and you're not going to win.
Man. Yeah.
That's mm.
That's one to take to the heart.
So.
And
What
it's
else, Courtney? What else you got?
oh man, after those 5 steps, well, we are gonna he does provide us 8 steps to live a financially free life. So we will get to those in a second. But just the overall of how quickly we give up on things. So those 5 steps, what I heard is be patient, and just trust the process. Just keep polishing the process. Just keep figuring out where you need to get better. But it's just, I see it all the time, every day in every industry. People just quit on themselves, quit on themselves, quit on themselves. And so, all 5 of those steps, I just heard don't quit on yourself, don't quit on your goal. Know your goal, polish your goal, don't quit on it.
Those five
Um,
steps actually apply to everything,
yeah.
right? Learn how to be comfortable with risk. Anything that you do, anything that you go into, know your
Mhm.
limits. Don't make impulsive
Have
decisions,
boundaries. Yeah.
right? Be grateful for what you have,
Hmm.
not really focus on what's missing. And because when we focus on what's missing, that's directly tied to being impulsive.
Yep. Yep. It sure is. So,
It sure is.
okay, so 8 steps to financial freedom and how to live free. So, one, build a financial plan outlining your goals.
Mm.
Two, determine the asset allocation most likely to get you the return to get. Number two, determine the asset allocation most likely to get you the return you need to achieve those goals. Three, take a global approach to your portfolio. Four, diversify to avoid company and industry risk. Five, consider working around your current holdings that have significant taxable gains. Six, determine which investments to buy in taxable and non taxable accounts. Seven, rebalance, tax harvest, and monitor your portfolio. There's 3 things: rebalance, tax harvest, and monitor. Eight, revisit your financial plan every year and make adjustments to your portfolio as needed.
Boom.
So,
Tony Robbins bringing it for the financial.
yeah, that's what I hear
Success
is
Magazine, May, June 2021.
just go for it, but be smart about it. Like, take your
Yes.
brain with you.
Take it with you.
Yeah.
All right, real quick to cap it off. Everyone loves to know what Tony does. For some reason, we're all like, "What does he do in the morning? What does he do in the afternoon? What does he drink? What does he eat?
Right.
How does he sleep? All these things, right?" So these are his guiding philosophies. The best money advice Tony ever received. Boom.
Mm, be
Let's
solid.
go. Ready?
Yes.
Is there a way I can do it like that? There we go. Look at that.
I love it.
All right.
Okay.
For things to change, you need to change. So he learned that from Jim Rohn. He learned that from Jim Rohn. When he was 17 years old, he attended a seminar by personal development master Jim Rohn. And the simple piece of advice from Rohn always stuck with him. This philosophy has guided my life to a great extent.
Yeah.
For things to change, you need to change.
Yes.
What
How
happens if you
empowering.
what happens if you stay the same?
It's going to stay the same around you or get worse by default. Because if you
Yes.
aren't growing, you're dying.
Yes. Work harder on yourself than anybody else.
Yes.
You can
Definitely.
work hard at your job, but what good is that going to do? But if you work hard on yourself, you will automatically, by default, improve on your job.
Yeah.
You'll
You are the
improve in your
safest,
profession.
that
Yeah.
you are the safest investment you can ever make is to get better at you.
Yes. His father said something that always stuck with him. If you work at McDonald's, you're going to make minimum wage because anyone can learn to do that job quickly,
Yeah.
his father said. But if a hedge fund manager can double someone's money in 2 or 3.5 years, he's providing hundreds of millions of dollars of value.
Yeah.
You got to add value.
Hmm.
So it just depends on where you want to add value. You got to hone in those skills that other people don't have that people will value.
Yep.
Work harder on yourself than anyone else. Great opportunities come every 15 minutes.
I like that one.
This piece of advice came from billionaire investor Richard Branson, who chooses to live with an abundance mindset as opposed to a scarcity mindset, because that's Branson's belief. He always looks for opportunities, Robbins says.
Mhm.
Every 15 minutes, Courtney.
Yeah.
So if
That's
you just think you missed an opportunity, guess what?
just
Wait 15 minutes, another one will come
Just
right
wait
by.
and hold the faith. Yeah. Yeah. But if you tell yourself that you miss this opportunity and that's it, and it's gonna be 10 years before another chance comes, oh, your brain's gonna shut down and it won't see the next opportunity that'll come in 15 minutes. Okay. So
It won't.
that's the key. That's the key. Stay open, hold the faith. Don't just be like, oh, that's it. No, just because you won't see it if you get angry. So
You
stay
won't.
grateful, stay open. Yeah.
Because opportunities are always happening and coming and going. And I'll say this, ironically enough, we do broadcast to Facebook and YouTube, but get off of your phone.
Yeah.
Maybe you're going to miss your opportunity because you're too busy watching Facebook.
Yeah.
With that said, you can listen to us on Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all your favorite channels. Make sure you
Yes.
visit forceforgrowth.com. You don't have to be on Facebook to catch the latest and greatest episodes of the Force for Growth podcast.
That is a fact. Yes.
Just saying. And number 4, the real secret to life is finding a way to add more value.
Mhm. Which is perfect because Rob just left us a comment that said add value to valuable people, and he's one that really knows about how to give just true human value. So thank you for pitching in, Rob.
Yes, he says here he learned this from Bill Gross, co-founder of PIMCO, and the only person in history to fund 7 companies to found 7 companies and exit them at over $1 billion.
Wow.
So this guy knows what he's talking about. What I love about him is that he's not saying, how do I use this to get something for me or punish someone I don't like?
Mm.
Let me read that again so it sinks in. He's not saying, how do I use this to get something for me or punish somebody I don't like? Robin says, he's saying, what can I do for the world?
Yeah. Huge distinction.
Huge distinction.
It'll make or break your goal.
Yes, it's a big one.
Mhm.
Success Magazine, May, June 2021. Tony Robbins on the cover, talking about financials. We just kind of gave you the surface stuff here, but the article is really good and it's got all sorts of other things here. And there's even a section called Hustle. Look at that.
There you go. Hustle.
Hustle,
Ah, one of our
right?
favorite words. Yes.
So the article here is called Just Start. Here's how you can launch an online business quickly. So make sure you go and get this. Lifestyle ahead in the clouds, travel memories, mark our progress. Several great articles here.
Yeah. Hey, shout
Several
out to
great
Success
articles.
Magazine. I'm really loving your 2021 issue so far. So can't wait
Yes.
to see
They
the
go
other one.
into sales and marketing, all this stuff. Just so you guys know, we are not sponsored in any way by Success Magazine. I pay for this myself,
We're
but
just fans.
I am a big fan of Success Magazine. And yeah, it's what achievers read.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
Hello.
I love that's a metaphor of the day. What are you subscribed to?
Boom.
Because if it's reality TV shows and that kind of thing, that's not giving you any value up here. That's not investing in any future anything except
None.
for comparison and judgment
Zero.
and lack. So, but like Rob said, add value to valuable people. If you're looking for them, you will see everyone around you is valuable, just like you. You are worthy. If you are sitting there and you're intimidated by investments, my mother, God love my mother. She about 20 years ago went to the library and just checked out a ton of books about investments, and she just kept learning and kept learning and kept learning and taught herself. So you can start at any level. Of course, Success Magazine, Tony Robbins, Money Master the Game, there he has multiple books on this subject. So definitely start at, point 1. There are amazing resources out there, but I want to highlight, if you're intimidated by it, if you're scared, you're worthy of investing.
Yes.
You don't need to make a certain amount of money to start investing and to start learning the game.
Yes.
You don't have to have X amount in savings. So just that's what I'm doing. I'm just
Start small.
looking up and I'm like,
Start
yeah,
small.
start small, start early, learn it now,
Yeah. If you
see
don't
what
have a
happens.
savings account, go get a savings account.
Yeah,
Right?
that's a huge one. That would
Go
be
do
step
it.
one to
Step
start.
one.
And I'm
Not
right
a
there with
checking
you.
account,
No,
a savings account.
that you put money in and you don't touch it.
Yes, that's ideal. So make sure you go visit success.com. This article is for free on the website and several other resources there at success.com. But I do suggest getting the physical book. There's nothing like holding a physical magazine in your hand, flipping through it, and reading it without the distractions of all these other apps that you can just easily flip to.
Yeah,
That's why I still subscribe to the physical version,
I loved it.
because I can let everything loose, turn it off. The power can go out, the internet can go out. Boom, I can still
Yeah,
read.
yeah. There you go.
Oh, oops.
Oh man, that
Share
was fun.
bang. Thank
Okay.
you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Force for Growth podcast. Remember to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Force for Growth,
And always remember to be a force for good
a Force for Growth.
and a force for greatness.
Bye.
Bye.